Today we've got a brand new save file. We're going to skip the tutorial and jump right in. Welcome to my channel, this is Volt. I hope you enjoy. So we're going to grab our first upgrade in the Smeltering City, which is going to be Deeds. Unfortunately that means that we are not going to have consumption control for the first game, which is fine, just a little bit of a challenge. On these lower difficulties, I'm going to focus on getting to the seals as fast as possible. So that means settling here on the bamboo flats next to the abandoned settlement. And then hopefully, if this is a negative modifier, we can go settlement 1, settlement 2, and then jump to the seal. If not, it's alright, it's just one extra settlement. That's the plan. On bamboo flats, I'll put the bonuses up on the screen right now, but it's mostly a farming biome. I like the look of this first caravan a lot. It's 3 extra villages and also has humans for our farms. I think that's a pretty obvious selection. We're going to go to Pioneer difficulty so that we can get enough seal fragments in case we do manage to do it in 2 settlements. We need 4 for the seal. And of course we've got the abandoned settlement, which will help us out in the early game. We'll get a few extra ruins. Pretty easy embarkation. We just take everything we've unlocked and that's it. Away we go. So let's take a look at what we have to work with here. We've got our fluff beak for the biome. Gives us resolve fertilizer for fertile soil and crit chance on yields. So in the early game, we don't really care about these 2 effects with so few villages, especially not with beavers and humans because we don't care about resolve either. So the main benefit is the fertilizer, which is only good if we can get a farm. And then it's pretty good if we do get a farm, but I have to have a look at our blueprints before we decide that. We've got our forest mysteries. Double the secondary resources gathered from trees. Okay, so we probably want to start with double woodcutter camp and get a bit of oil going. Oil and plant fiber. And if we have complex food, our villages will move faster, which conveniently we have biscuits. So both humans and beavers will get their complex food buff. And then storm. Discovering a glade in the storm reduces resolve by 10. So it's an easy one to avoid. Off-road speed is decreased by 30%. Nuisance, but not a big deal. And all species resolve drops 100% faster. So pretty tame. And we've got our ruins from the abandoned settlement. We've got the brickyard. Can't say no to 3-star bricks, that's never a bad thing. We have a herbalist camp, which we can't do anything with at the moment. And grill, 3-star skewers, which no one wants to eat. And the concern is that, like, you could use the 3-star skewers to save a lot of food, convert 5 raw food to 10, but that only works with consumption control. Otherwise, they're just going to eat the raw food anyway before they eat the skewers. I think very likely I'll be salvaging the grill, getting the fish and the coal out of it, and probably building the brickyard. Starting nodes, got 3 plant fiber, 2 veg. Nothing special. Then we got blueprints. The Weaver does utilize our plant fiber to make 3-star fabric, but fabric on its own is not particularly useful. Planks are far more useful in diverse ways, so the lumbermill and the carpenter are more appealing to me here. The carpenter has the added bonus of giving tools. So that gives us 2 things. We can make planks and tools, or we can make 3-star planks, which are excellent. Plus scrolls and trade goods, which don't excite me as much. I'd be leaning towards the carpenter, and tools just to end the game a bit faster, to open caches, is probably a good idea. I think I'm happy to lock in the carpenter. I want to see if I get a farm, so if I know I need to invest in this fluff beak or not. There's a farm. Berries. What can we do with berries in a complex food chain? Biscuits are excellent. It's not bad. It's not bad. So in that case, if I was to take the farm, then I would want a way to get this fluff beak getting me fertilizer consistently. In any case, it's not a good idea to go to the herbalist camp because I have the ruin here if I need that anyway. Trapper's camp. There's only meat on this map, so it's not likely to be useful. I'm down to commit to the plantation and we'll see if we can make the fluff beak work. Give it a whirl. Don't like 3-star jerky. I already have a pottery recipe. 3-star dye, 2-star ale, 1-star wine. It's not bad. Dye goes into coats, obviously, at some point. I'll need a new recipe for that, though. Otherwise, the provisioner gives me flour, which, combined with the berries, can make me biscuits. I think that's likely a good long-term plan. I'll hold on this decision, but I think the provisioner makes a lot of sense. That's our opener, so we can start to plan out our town. So here's our little starting plan. We're going to go double woodcutter to take advantage of the double secondary resources, which will get us a little bit of plant fiber and oil, hopefully. And a crude workstation, which we're going to double staff once it's built. I want to get 7 planks, so I can get 2 for the rain collector and start getting water right away so we can start giving the fluff beak something to drink. And then 5 more planks to get me enough for the carpenter. That will use up a lot of the wood that I'm getting from my double woodcutter camp, which is also going to be used in the hearth. The plan is to use coal and oil, at least in the short term, for the fluff beak once we get the water going. So that's the plan. Here's our first cornerstone selection. Not very excited by plant fiber per minute, when I'm already getting quite a lot of plant fiber from trees, and I have a plant fiber node. Each discovered small glade increases the working speed of scouts investigating glade events by 50% for 3 minutes. I feel like I would need a very specific map or seal to actually want to take this, or be under a lot of pressure at the end of a game. I'm going to be farming, which means I don't actually need to open as many glades. So I think 10 amber is probably worth more than both of these. Alright, now we've got some orders to pick from. Well, that's an instant complete. And 2 extra villages, which sounds excellent with my population at the moment. That's just an easy pick. 2 glade events for 3 villages, or plantation, berries, and plant fiber, which I'm going to do. I'm going to do both of these at some point. Which one am I going to do earlier? Oh, my ruins are glade events. I can do that like instantly. So I was going to salvage this grill anyway, so we can definitely do that. And I can just build this herbalist camp. I'm not attached to this pottery or coats. Yeah, I mean, that's easy. I can definitely do that. Four glades, or now we take the plantation. Now we take the plantation for sure. Villages as well. Yeah, that's easy. So instant complete this one. 2 extra villages. Excellent. Going to pick up this provisioner now, I think, and see my next blueprint. And the flour sets up my biscuits, which is still the long-term plan. And there's my biscuit recipe. So that's an easy pick. I've called the trader, and Sahilda has arrived with the goods. I've got the 5 clay I need to salvage the grill. I've got the 15 berries I need for my order, which will save some time on that one completing. Although, with no consumption control, it might be a bit safer to get a bit more. 30 should be enough, I think. I also have the 2 fabric I need to make my carpenter. Is that all? I wonder if there's any other buildings that I should think about. I'm not worried about the provision or anytime soon. Maybe I am. And the bakery also. Okay, I'd like 8 fabric then. That way I don't have to waste any time in the crude workstation. So let's go 8 fabric. Let's go 30 berries. And the 5 clay that I need. I can use all my amber. And I'm happy to throw away some parts. I have far too many of these. Can I trade? I can add 1 more wood. Okay, we've solved both our ruins to complete this glade event, which gets me a lot of villagers and some planks, which is very nice. And I also accelerated building our plantation to complete this other order. Also started building the provisioner to get our flour going. And in order to make the flour, since we're not going to have too many roots left, I'm going to pick up a bit of grain from Zahilda before she leaves. We can now start to feed the fluff pig. Get some fertilizer. So I can use the vegetables that I got from the order until we get a bit of order coming in, which we're working on. And then as soon as we've got some fertilizer, we can start growing some berries, so next year's drizzle. And that will set us up for our biscuits. We can also have a look at the blueprints from completing the orders. So the farm is nice to grow grain long term for flour, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get enough fertilizer to sustain 2 farms. I'm also going to open the dangerous glade to the north here soon, now that I've got a big influx of villagers with no jobs to do. So we'll see what's in here first, and then also maybe in this forbidden glade before we decide if we want these camps or not. So let's have a little look at what's waiting for us in this glade. We've got some leather nodes, a large broccoli patch, which we could grab the forager's camp for, 4 salt vein, but also sea marrow. Salt goes into biscuits, but we've obviously got the long-term plan of farming berries anyway. Some roads, large encampment. Wow, 6 villages. And I have just enough vegetables or berries to welcome them, so I'll definitely be doing that. Haunted rain mill, flour, scrolls, and paste. I mean, it's nice. Paste is pretty useless. The flour is an improvement. I mean, maybe scrolls in a long game. I don't have to deal with this right now anyway. This can just sit here for a little while. It's okay. Also got a cellar. Wine, pickle goods, and packs of provisions. Pickle goods are quite good now. We've got a lot more lizards than we had at the start. Again, we'll just sit on this. And finally, we've got the lurker. So if we don't do anything about it, he'll destroy all of our fish. If we purify it, our villagers will have less time between breaks and we'll get a deep pond, which we could use our fishing hut for. That's an option. I don't even know exactly what is in this pond, so I'm sort of interested in finding out. The other option gets me amber and rep. If we want to get this large pond, then I would probably need to get salt or call a trader. We can get salt from the mine, and the salt does still set up for the biscuits. It reduces my dependency on berries. We have options anyway. So I've called Zorg to help sort out the lurker situation. He brings the herbs I need. I need 22 herbs to sort out the glade event. And then it wouldn't hurt to get a bit more grain so I can make some more flour. I think something like this is good. And now we can get villagers on the way to solve the lurker glade event. So here we are at the start of year 2. During the storm, we laid all these garden patches to start growing our berries for our biscuits. I also made this forager's camp to harvest the vegetables to feed the fluffbeak. Built the carpenter, so we're starting to produce some planks, which we're going to use to make this brickyard, which long term we can make crystallized dew and then make tools in the carpenter. So that will get us some resolve near the end of the game. Biscuits are starting to come in. We don't have a whole lot of grain left to make this flour. We have a cornerstone to select. Improvised tools is not good, unfortunately, because of the forest mystery we have that gives us negative resolve for discovering a glade. Family gratitude solves our container problems, which is actually quite useful because we have the cellar that we can rebuild. So lets me do wine and pickled goods, specifically pickled goods. Since we have so many lizards and beavers and we're going to have a surplus of berries, we can actually use pickled goods as our main food. We really need to get 1 point of resolve soonish so that we can get 40 water skins to just use in the midterm. And then long term, once we've got the pickled goods, the resolve points will flood in. We also have newcomers to pick. Extra villager. I can't use the pipes. It's a pretty easy bucket to take, I think. The vegetables help me feed the fluffbeak too. Scouts are nearly done on the lurker event, so we're about to get our pond. So my plan is to set up a warehouse up here, depending on how good the pond is. And that will also work for the cellar once we get pickle goods going. The problem is that I need bricks for this small warehouse, which my only way to get clay or stone is via this flax field with the 25% clay, so I'm just temporarily making a harvester's camp just to hopefully grab 1 or 2 clay that we can then process into bricks in the brickyard after we have enough planks from the carpenter, and that will set up this new little hub for us. Okay, here's our deep pond. Gives us fish, algae, and scales in large quantities, but it's going to take a long time to get through the 120 charges. So we want to start fishing very soon. We can use the fish for pie, and we can use the algae for flour. We also need to pick up our large fishing hut. And now we have some more choices. So clearly we don't need the brickyard because we're going to rebuild our ruin. The cookhouse seems unnecessary. I think the brewery gives me at least something unique, which is the 3-star ale. So long term, ale is a good service for humans and beavers to end the game. So intuitively I think I'm going to go to the brewery, but I don't need to pick this right away, so I can hold on to it for now. Okay, here are our year 2 orders. 50 roads, that's quite easy to do. I definitely have 50 already. For 5 amber and 15 stone. 15 stone really solves my problem with bricks. So this is an easy to pick one, I think. The packs of crops will be too difficult. They're good rewards, but amber and stone are so good here. This one is far less simple. One event by making a decision of empathy, which I don't have available to me, so I just have to get lucky. Or 40 skewers and a lizard house, which I don't currently have unlocked. I think it's just going to be the empathy one. The rewards are okay, and I just have to hope that I get an event that lets me do it. I think I'm happy to lock in my brewery. Hopefully we get something to use the ale later on. Ah. Well, the tavern will be perfect. We have wine in the cellar ruin, and we have ale in the brewery, so this will definitely be happening. So I think my next steps are to get this warehouse and fishing hut set up in this new glade. Ideally get a second hearth, but placement is tricky. I'm gonna have to chop some trees up here to make it work, and then head into this forbidden glade. Let's see what the Forbidden Glade has for us. We've got some flax fields, which we already have, berry bushes, which we don't need, and salt veins, which we already have. Got a kiln. Not super excited about 3-star coal when I've already got quite a lot of fuel, but the clay is quite useful for making pottery, which reduces our reliance on this water skin cornerstone. We've also got 2 large abandoned caches. I think this one's going to the Citadel, and this one too. Finally, we've got the destroyed Cage of the Warbeast. If we don't resolve it, we get hostility and fewer newcomers on our caravans. So we can cultivate the decay by spawning blood flowers and gaining impatience to reduce hostility and some other goodies. Or we can pay for the funeral, which is empathy for our order. Spending 12 amber and oil, I suppose. That's quite cheap. To get 1 reputation point. I think we're definitely paying for the funeral, because even though it is quite expensive, our order gives us back 3 tablets. So it's actually quite cheap, and it's an extra resolve point. In order to get the amber though, to complete the event, I'm going to need to sell some goods, which I don't have a whole lot of. So I think before I call a trader, I can just make some packs of provisions. And I'm not really that concerned if the event triggers. So the High Lizard Resolve has earned us a blueprint, but looking at these, I don't see any way that they fit into our game plan at the moment. So I've run out of flour, so we're on our last legs of pies and biscuits for the short term. I'm going to pull in the nets, not right away, but soon, to get the algae out of the pond. But before that, I think I'm going to recover this rain mill and get the 3-star flour recipe. I'm also going to prepare a second bakery for when eventually we pull the nets in and make a lot of flour, so we can produce biscuits and pie very quickly. Until then, I've got some pottery underway, thanks to the ruin that we salvaged, and I'm going to make some pickled goods. It's the start of year 3, so we have a cornerstone to select. So it's worth thinking about declining, because the amber immediately would allow me to complete the glade event that I'm waiting on, but I've already made the packs of provisions, and I'm planning to call the trader very shortly, so I don't think we need the amber. I definitely don't need the plant fiber delivery line, but I think the grain delivery line, despite it being quite late into the game, has a little niche for us because we need a way to make ale. We have a building for it, and we have containers, but we need grain or roots, and we have neither. And again, I don't think I desperately need the amber. So I'm going to take grain delivery line. We also have newcomers to pick from. So both caravans have 5. I certainly don't need more berries, and I definitely don't need more planks. So I'm probably more looking at what species are in the caravans. Right now it's easier to keep, I think, lizards happy, but there's one in both. And I think the beavers are going to be the next easiest, because I can go pickled goods, biscuits, ale, and wine. So an extra beaver doesn't hurt. Now that we've made some packs of provisions, it's time to call the trader. And the beavers have now cut through to make enough room for a new hearth. The trader has arrived. I need 7 amber to complete the glade event. And I wouldn't mind picking up some algae, so I don't need to pull in the nets so early and I can start making more flour. I don't think I need any more hearths, so I think this trade is okay. So it's now clearance and everything is starting to come together. We've got flour being made in the rain mill. We've got lizards making biscuits and pies in both of the bakeries. We've got pickle goods coming in the cellar. And it's just about time to pull in these nets in the deep pond. Get the algae first so that we can keep making flour. We're about to upgrade this hearth. Also got villagers working in this harvester's camp just to bring in a bit of clay so that we can get the bricks required for the tavern. And I think that's the tipping point. Once we get the tavern and the brewery going, everyone will start having high resolve. So we have new orders to pick from. These ones are a little tricky. I have enough fertilizer to make the farm fields, but 15 packs of crops is going to be very difficult. I have nothing to make them, really. I think I can do the 15 luxury goods. It'll take a bit of time, but at least it's completable. Similarly, I would need to open a lot more glades to find 2 more ruins. So I'll take the order that's actually definitely completable, which is the building materials. With the completion of the tavern, as you can see, everyone is quite happy now. We've also just completed the glade event, which completes the order. And that also unlocks another blueprint for us. So I'm just going to take the smokehouse here, even though I don't think I'm going to use it, just to see what else we've got. I think the clothier makes a lot of sense here. I definitely need the building materials for the order. That saves me wasting a lot of planks in the makeshift post. And maybe we can get coats going as well, if the game lasts that long. We've also just started making crystallized dew, so that I can get some tools to open these 2 caches and hopefully end the game quite quickly. We've completed the brewery, so we've got some ale on the way, and we've also got another blueprint, thanks to Resolve. None of these drastically change our game plan, but the butcher is probably the best. Time to pick what should be our last cornerstone. Rooty ground is not bad here because I don't need to do any more farming, but the game's not going to go long enough to get me enough oomph out of it. So I think I'm just going to decline. I'm also going to call a trader shortly just to increase my impatience. We also have newcomers to pick. I think I can support the extra villages and it just gives me faster resolve. So I'm going to take the bucket with the amber as I'm about to call the trader. Zorg has arrived. He brings the tools I need to skip the production cycles to open the caches, so I'm definitely going to pick those up. And I'll also grab a little bit of oil because I'm burning through all my wood to make packs of building materials, so the oil will help keep the fluff pig happy. As the game draws to a close, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching my first video. Please tell me if you enjoyed this editing style. I hope it turned out well. Have a great rest of your day.